We'll be going over IRS Notice CP22A. This type of notice, according to the Taxpayer Advocate, means that the IRS made some changes to your Form 1040 based on information that you provided, but that you still have an outstanding tax bill. So what we'll do in this video is we're going to go over this notice step by step. We'll talk about what you should do and some things, some options that you have if you disagree with the IRS assessment. So as always, we're going to start with the top of the form in the upper right hand corner where you'll see the notice number CP22A. In this case, it's for the tax year of 2016. The notice date is January 30th, 2019. I always take a moment to advise people to pay particular attention to the notice date. Sometimes when the IRS asks you to take an action, it might be tied to the notice date. For example, if you said, if the notice says, if you disagree with this information, please respond within 30 days of the notice date. Or if you do not do something, we will do this after 45 days. So let's take a quick scan just to see if there's anything. There doesn't appear to be really anything of significance. Basically, the closest is that you have a due date, February 20th. So that's the amount that's due. That due date is 21 days after the notice date. And then there's an additional, looks like 30 days before the interest and penalties start to accrue, additional interest and penalties. There's in this notice, there's no specific action that's directly tied to the notice date, but it's always good to keep that in mind because the IRS does have a process, and each step of the collections process has a certain period of time. All of that ties to the notice date. Pay particular attention. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the taxpayer's name and address. And I usually take this time to make my second universal observation, which is if you've recently changed your address, either as a business or as an individual taxpayer, then you should at least check your IRS record to make sure that your address is the correct address. If it's not, then usually when you file your tax return, that will update your tax record. But if you have to wait an entire year because you just finished filing your taxes and then you moved, you may want to go ahead and just contact the IRS. You can either call them, validate your information over the phone, and then change your address with an IRS employee, or you can file the change of address form, which is IRS Form 8822 for individual taxpayers, IRS Form 8822-B for business owners. So, and the reason you want to do this is because certain items are tied to the notice date. You want to make sure that your IRS correspondence does not get lost in the mail or get caught up in the Postal Service any more than it has to. So you want to be able to respond directly. If you have an issue with the notice, you want to be able to have as much time to resolve the issue as possible. So let's take a closer look at this notice itself. So it basically says, according to the information you provided, we changed your 2016 Form 1040 to reflect filing status to head of household. Presumably this might have been a single taxpayer, and then changes to the total exemption amount. And it looks like there was an outstanding balance of over $1,000 before this change. The decrease in tax plus the decrease in the associated interest brings the new balance down to $24.60. So This was the amount that was due as of February 20th, 2017. You can obviously tell that this is a reproduction of sorts from the IRS because the notice date is January 30th, 2019. So in an actual correspondence, I would expect that the amount due date would be after the notice date. So if you agree, you can go ahead and just pay that amount by whatever date is assigned here. Again, you would expect that the notice date comes before the due date. You can pay online. You can mail a check or money order. So if you go to the irs.gov/payments, you can go into your IRS account and you can select the tax year that you want to apply this tax payment to. If you choose to mail a check or a money order, then you should make it out to the United States Treasury. You should write your social security number, or if you're a business owner, your employer identification number, the tax year, and then the form number on your check or money order itself. Attach it with the payment voucher and then send it to this address here. Sometimes the payment voucher address is different from the address on the letterhead, so if in doubt, pay attention to the payment voucher. So if you don't agree, you can call the 800 number, go over the account with a representative. This section goes over payment options. You can submit an offer in compromise if you think you qualify. The IRS has a page set up where you can go through your tax situation. For the whopping amount of $24.60, it's probably just easier to go ahead and pay the amount straight up. So you can request your balance due, payment history through the IRS website. You can see a lot of this information also in your IRS account if you have one established. So there's not a whole lot left on this. As it shows, there's no penalty accrued at this point as long as you keep on top of your payments. I am going to select this hyperlink right here just to see if there's any additional information about your CP21A notice. So it shows exactly what the notice is about, which is that the IRS made changes. You owe some taxes, and again, in this case, that amount was less than the original amount. And so, what do you need to do? You need to read the notice. That's the first thing that it says on the page. Read the notice carefully. Then contact the IRS. If you agree, you can correct the copy of your tax return that you kept for your records, pay the amount due, or make payment arrangements by the due date. There's some frequently asked questions here, and then tips on how to avoid any mistakes in future tax returns. So if you did need to request an installment agreement, which is where you and the IRS agree to break up your outstanding tax bill, let's say you owed $2,000 instead of $24, but you can afford, say, $150 a month, then you would request an installment agreement either online, or you can file IRS Form 9465, which is the installment agreement request. So there are a couple of tax forms that we mentioned here, and we will put links to those in the show notes. Let's go back to the original form just to kind of circle back and make sure we didn't miss anything. And I think we covered everything. So that really takes care of IRS Notice CP22A. As I mentioned, we'll put links in the show notes to the resources we've created about some of these tax forms mentioned here. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see discussed in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.